demonstrate who he is and what kind of leader he'll be. It starts by how he was raised, product of a teenage single mother, 18-year-old mother, white woman raising a black kid in the 60s. Now you know she was a dreamer. Go to places like Indonesia, get a PhD and study women's issues. But because of her naivete and dreaming, sometimes her family lives on food stamps. But Barack got to see the world in a way that most Americans do not. And I ask you, when was the last time we've seen a president of the United States who understands other cultures and respects them? Amazing and devastating impacts to small villages across oceans, not because he's received a policy briefing from a set of Washington insiders, but because he's lived in those countries. He's got a grandmother that lives in one of those small villages in Africa. I say, we have not seen that in a long time. And it doesn't stop there. Barack was also raised by his maternal grandparents, two grands. Now they were Midwesterners, and our cynicism. The world moves on. And we give up our seat in democracy, somebody else will take that seat. And they will make decisions about our health care and our education and whether we go to war, and they will base it on their needs and not ours. It is time for us to say enough to fear. We do not make good decisions when we base them solely on fear. Talking about what can't go wrong, who's different from us, who we should be afraid of. It doesn't work. If it worked, we'd be fine. Because we got fear down to an art form. The time has come for us to change. And Barack says the first step to change, at least here in Texas, is tomorrow. Tomorrow is so important. And it's not just about you here. Because for every 1 year, y'all know 10 trifling people who are folks who aren't paying attention, folks who are still cynical, folks who want to believe that them getting up and voting somehow doesn't matter, so that gives them an excuse to stay home. So even if you get up and go vote, you got to get those folks up too. I mean, what we have seen in this year, we've seen record turnouts at the polls. Folks, early voting here in Texas has shot up, skyrocketed. But as Barack says, that the victory is not just getting him in office, it's changing the way we engage in democracy. We're already doing some of that, but we still have work to do. So we're going to need you. That's why Barack says he needs you standing with him and praying for him and working for him. And if tomorrow after you have voted, you got to go get other people voted. You got to drive them to the polls. You have to wake them up out of their beds. Students, get those classmates out and in. Because what has made the difference in this race has been young people voting and engaging and passionate in ways that it should be, because this mess will be yours. So now is the time to take ownership on who you want to lead this country. And the hope is that one will be Barack Obama, but you have to be engaged. Whoever you vote for, you can background with what your parents did or didn't do for you. The truth of the matter in my life has always been, whenever I have pushed past someone else's limited expectations of me, and I have claimed my seat at a table that others felt so entitled to, those that were supposed to be so much more prepared and ready to claim the mantle of power, every time I sat at that table of power and looked around, I knew in my heart there was no magic there. These people were no more better, no more prepared than me, ever. So I wouldn't be here if it weren't for a whole lot of hope and a whole lot of dreaming. So I just ask folks, we need to do a whole lot of dreaming right now. And I want folks to close their eyes and just imagine the day. And we get to a point where we can inaugurate a man like Barack Obama, and he's standing in front of the Capitol with his hand on the Bible, they couldn't become. On that day alone, that image has changed. The possibilities are endless because kids see that we're in a nation of possibility. We are not a nation of doubters, but a nation of people reaching and striving always for something better. And if we can do that right here in this nation, then the question we have to ask ourselves is just imagine what that image will mean to the millions of kids around the world. See, because the world is watching us. They're watching us. And they want to know, who are we? What kind of change are we really ready for? Who are we, America? What are we reaching for? What kind of hopes do we want to create? Because the world still believes in the greatness of America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. So I ask you, Texas, can we do this?
Right there, East Texas for Obama. That's our head next East Texas. This is in, that's our head next East Texas. This is in Tyler. The roads.